Today I'm talking about the new album by The Halo Effect called March of the Unheard. This was released on January 10th, 2025. It is the follow-up to their debut album, Days of the Lost. Now, if you know my channel, you know I do comprehensive album reviews. So I'm going to be talking about the band's history, the first album, the album cover, music videos, singles, songs, and final thoughts and score at the end. So let me get into it. First, a quick history. The band is a Swedish melodic death metal band. They formed in 2020 during the pandemic, and the band consists of ex-members of the band In Flames, as well as a current Dark Tranquillity member. The band includes Mikael Stanne on vocals, Niklas Englin on guitar, Jesper Stromblad on guitar, Peter Ewers on bass, and Daniel Svensson on drums. They decided to form this band together because they had been friends for a long time and they played together in the aforementioned band. So back in 2022, they released their debut album called Days of the Lost. I did a review of that. I'll link it to the end of this video. That was a good album. It was very reminiscent of that classic melodic death metal sound from the Gothenburg area. Now it's time for a new album. The band describes this as more of an ambitious album. As for the lyrics, they focus on themes like youth and rebellion, as well as self-discovery and the struggles of being an outcast. But one thing this band is known for is that songs are catchy. All the songs have memorable hooks, and because of that, songs go over well before a live audience. But despite this, the album still has lots of heaviness. This band knows how to mix aggressive guitar riffs and melodic passages. That also includes orchestration and acoustic guitars. I will be talking about all of that when I get into the tracks. Let me talk about the album cover. I guess it's similar to the previous album cover. They took a graphic design approach. They took various images. They put it within a circle. It looks like a castle, two towers. There's a tree in the middle. So it appears they're trying to keep the same type of style as they did with the first album. I have both album covers on the screen so you can see the comparison. The band released 3 singles for the songs Cruel Perception, March of the Unheard, and Detonate. Each of them had a music video, so let's talk about them. First song I want to talk about is Cruel Perception. This song had a very melodic intro, but when the first verse kicks in, you hear the death metal style vocals. The music video shows the band playing, and they can be seen on old television sets, and they're placed sparingly in different parts of the city. Song has both heavy moments as well as some parts with cleaner guitars, as well as some different changes in the song's rhythm. I like the catchiness of the song, but it still has that classic mellow death sound. The next single is called Detonate. This one had more of a classic mellow death sound. It was faster, more aggressive, and the guitar riffs were very heavy and complex. There was still a melodic component to the song that came in during the pre-chorus. The music video was mostly performance-based, but it had this theme of a bomb that's going to detonate, which included a timer in the background while they're playing. I like the song because it showed off the heavier side, but the song also had some progressive elements as well. As you watch the video, you can see the timer counting down, and it's in sync with the song, so as you would expect, at the end of the song, the bomb goes off. The third single and music video was for March of the Unheard. This one had a strange music video, featured people dressed as toy soldiers, and they had their lips sewn shut. This was a performance from the band. Out of all the singles, this was the catchiest and most melodic. I like the song a lot. I wasn't sure the meaning behind the toy soldiers. They didn't really do much in the video, but I think it's symbolic and it ties into the lyrics. Let me talk about the album tracks now. The opening track is called Conspire to Deceive. This is some straightforward melodic death metal. The vocals are all death metal style vocals, different than Mikael Stanne's other band, Dark Tranquillity, where he uses more clean vocals, but he maintains the same vocal style throughout the song and most of the songs on the album. There are a few exceptions where he brings that clean singing in. I think it's on maybe like 2 tracks, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But it's mostly those melodic death metal vocals. The song has the guitars mixed up front. It's filled with melodic guitar riffs. You hear keyboards a little lower in the background. So I thought it was a good song to open the album. Then we have Our Channel to the Darkness. On the song, they pick up the speed. It has a softer intro that reminded me of modern Iron Maiden. This one also has some more keyboards throughout the song. There's an interlude that sounds a little psychedelic. So I thought it was a pretty good song because it shows they're experimenting a little, but not really abandoning their sound. The next album track is called What We Become. They continue the album with fast-paced mellow death. This one has a little bit more aggression, still maintains the melody. Track also has some powerful drumming and some keyboard sounds. One of those tracks that's pretty straightforward, but still a good song. Next track is called Curse of Silence. They seem to take a little bit of a left turn with some interesting tribal drum beats and chanting in the intro. At first I thought I'm surprised they didn't release this one as a single, but it seems to be one of the more melodic and radio-friendly tracks. But then as I listened to it, I realized it's just a 2-minute track, so I think it's more of an intro track that comes right before the single, which is March of the Unheard. But anyway, it's one of those more transitional songs. And this went into the single March of the Unheard, which I already talked about. So moving on to the next track, it's called Forever Astray. This was the first time in the album I heard some clean vocals as opposed to the death metal style vocals. But as for the music, it's pretty fast paced. I like the drumming, and it has a really cool double bass drum sound throughout the entire track. Song goes through some rhythmic shifts. It was an interesting one. It sounded like something that might have belonged on the last Dark Tranquillity album. After this is a song called Between Directions. This is another interesting one. It sounds like they're playing violins in the intro. Then they get to the main guitar riff. It kind of gave me some of those classic Iron Maiden vibes. The song was pretty cool. You can hear the bass guitar during the verse section, and it seems like they were going for some darker and slower tones. This is another song that stands out because it's a song I remember hearing clean vocals on, and it has that orchestral element. So for example, you can hear more violins during the chorus. I guess you could even call it a power ballad. I don't even know if that exists in melodic death metal, but that's what I thought. This one would probably have made a good single, and it had a more radio-friendly sound. The next song is called A Death That Becomes Us. I like the song. It kind of reminded me of the theme to that old TV series, The Knight Rider. It's a mid-paced rocker, has some pretty chunky guitar riffs. Song still has lots of melody though. It's a good song, had that classic mellow death sound. It was cool. They shifted tempos a few times on the song as well. Next song is called The Burning Point. This was one of those tracks that was heavier and faster, but like most songs on the album, it still maintained that old school melodic death metal sound. I thought the verse sections were very fast and heavy, and the chorus got more melodic. So it was a good song. It captured that classic sound. There are also some cool melodic leads on the song as well, and some different tempo changes. I thought it was a good album track. The last song is called Coda. This is actually the first song they wrote. It's an acoustic instrumental with orchestral parts. It's very different than anything else in the album. It has a pretty cool melody, but it's just one of those short instrumental tracks that's very different, but I liked it a lot. So in conclusion, it's a pretty solid melodic death metal album. I don't think it's much different than the first album. I think it's a worthy follow-up. It's on par with the first album. I think if you're looking for some classic melodic death metal that might be a little more accessible and radio-friendly, it's worth checking out. It's not as heavy as some of the old classic albums by In Flames, but it definitely has good replay value, and the songs are very memorable and catchy. My score will be the same score I gave on the previous album, which is an 8 out of 10. So that's about it for the video. If you want to watch my review for the first album, I'll stick that right here. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Please give the video a like. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe if you have not already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.